Have you ever wanted to be a member of a quilt guild? Have you dropped out and maybe you're considering rejoining? Well, if you are, I have 8 reasons why you should go ahead and join a quilt guild. Hello everybody, this is Michelle Fox and welcome back to The Simple Quilter. Today I'm talking about reasons why you would want to be a member of a quilt guild. Now, some of you may or may not know what a quilt guild is, so let's start with kind of a definition of what a quilt guild is. A quilt guild is typically a nonprofit organization that helps promote the art of quilting to its members. Now, a quilt guild can be online or it can be local and in person. Quilt guild meetings typically meet quarterly or monthly. I guess some could meet bi-monthly, but the ones that I have belonged to have met monthly. A quilt guild meeting typically consists of some type of lecture or demonstration. It includes show and share. Occasionally there are parties, and there's always a business meeting. Quilt guilds also offer opportunities for taking part in community service projects, quilt-related outings, retreats, and sew days. Those are just a few of the activities that some quilt guilds provide. Now, some quilt guilds also put on quilt shows. Now, let's get into the reasons you would want to join a quilt guild. Now, I have to tell you, I have been a member of 2 quilt guilds, and they are like fairly local quilt guilds. I have to travel a little ways to go to one, but I have belonged to 2 different quilt guilds. Now, I do have to say I am not a very active member and haven't been since I started my YouTube channel, and I really do miss attending those meetings. But let's talk about some of the reasons why you would want to be a member of a quilt guild. One of the top reasons for joining a quilt guild is simply to share your craft of quilting with other like-minded people. You're not going to go to a quilt guild and discuss literature. You're going to go to a quilt guild and you are going to talk about quilts with the members. I think one of the best benefits that I've gotten out of joining a quilt guild is that I have made lots of new friends, and I have had some of the same friends for over 30 years, and it is truly, I think quilters are amazing people, so they do provide an excellent opportunity to meet new people and to make fantastic friends that share your hobby. Another good reason to join a quilt guild is to become more active within your community. There are lots of community service projects in our quilt guild. There are things like our quilt guild has made turbans and chemo caps for women who are undergoing treatment for cancer. We've made baby quilts. We've made quilts for the various shelters in our local town. We've made quilts for the Quilts of Valor program. We've organized quilt shows. We've participated in quilt shows as a group. And then many of our members have also helped to put together quilt shows that are actually sponsored by our guild. And another opportunity to become more involved is to become an officer, a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer. So if that's your thing, there's an opportunity for you when you join your local quilt guild. Now, another reason you might want to join a quilt guild is because it is an avenue for learning new skills and improving your quilting ability. And you can do this by attending the lectures, the workshops, the demonstrations. One way that I have improved my skills is just by attending like sew days and quilt retreats and sewing with other quilters who have taught me a lot of things. That's probably It's probably how I learned the most. Well, and I have taken a lot of quilt classes, not necessarily through our quilt guild, but anyway, the quilters in Quilt Guild are always seem, well, just quilters in general, always seem to be willing to help others and to explain techniques. Okay, so the fifth reason for joining a quilt guild is because it provides a source of inspiration and support. Our quilt guild has an annual challenge. We have show and tell or show and share, and just seeing what other people make and the quantity that some people are able to get things completed is and can be inspiring. Also, I think it's a great support for members as they, when they become ill, or if their loved ones become ill, or if they or if a member loses a loved one. I think the members are just a great support for each other. Our guild sends get well cards. We've had card parties for people who are ill, or who have lost a loved one, or who are going through a trying time. I just think I think quilt guilds are just a great avenue for support. Okay, if you have a tendency to go home and stay home and not get out much, and you want to get out, but you don't really have anywhere to go, a quilt guild provides that opportunity. It helps you to get out of the house and gives you something exciting to look forward to each month. And sometimes there's more than one activity a month. Our quilt guild has monthly meetings, they have sew days, they have retreats, they have sometimes members get together to do quilt outings. Now, one of the guilds that I've been a member of, they have quilt outings, and they kind of do field trips for whoever wants to take part, and those have always been a lot of fun. And again, I mentioned quilt shows, so it just really gives you something to look forward to. The seventh reason for joining a quilt guild is that it could be a good financial resource for some quilters. Now, it does cost some to join a quilt guild. I've never had to pay more than $25 to become a member. Those may have gone up this year. I'm not really for sure. But, for $25, you get to attend lectures, workshops, demonstrations. Our quilt guild has a quilt book library, and I have checked out quite a few books from our guild library. Almost at every meeting you have an opportunity to win prizes, and sometimes those prizes are bundles of fat quarters or notions. So there's always an opportunity. You may not win all the time, but there is an opportunity for that. Our guild also has quilters garage sales, where the quilters can come and sell the things that they no longer want, and they sell that at a cheaper cost. Now, a lot of times quilters will bring in stuff that has been donated to them, or things that they just want to get rid of, and they'll put it at a table in the back of the meeting room, and quilters can take what they want free of charge. So that's a good resource for quilters who have a more limited budget. Now, the eighth reason, I kind of debated whether I wanted to put this on there or not, but I decided to go ahead. A lot of times when you go to meetings, there is just great food. When we have a quilt retreat, those are some tasty treats the quilters bring. And when we have parties and different events throughout the year, there is always good food. I don't know what it is, but the majority of quilters just seem to be able to cook up some delicious food. So if you haven't joined a quilt guild, I'd like to encourage you to do that. And if possible, I think you should join a local quilt guild so you can be close to the quilters in your guild, and you could easily get together with them if you wanted to. Now, some people don't drive and they're not able to get out, and you can join online quilt guilds. Now, I've never done that, but I do know it's an option. Now, in the comments below, tell me if you're a member. Tell me if you have any other reasons why you're a member of a quilt guild. And if you're not a member, tell me if you've considered joining a quilt guild and why or why you haven't. So please be sure to leave comments in the comment section below. I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, please hit the like button. Subscribe if you haven't. Please share with a friend. And always leave a comment. I love to get those comments, and I do try to reply to each and every one. So until next time, have fun quilting.